Welcome to Social Studies Unlocked. This is a different type of video today. Today we're tackling the big one, your final exam. This exam is source-based, meaning you'll be asked to read graphs and cartoons, quotations, and case studies even. Then you're going to analyze them using your knowledge of the topics we've studied. That means this review is not just about memorizing facts. It's about understanding systems, making connections, and thinking like a responsible, informed citizen. Let's get started. All right, Section 1, Government and Decision Making. Canada's federal government has three branches that share and balance power. We have the executive branch. This carries out laws and runs daily operations. It includes our Prime Minister, cabinet ministers, and also the civil service. Next up is our legislative branch. They debate and make laws. It's made up of the House of Commons, so elected members of Parliament, MPs, and the Senate, appointed senators. The judicial branch interprets and applies laws. It includes Canada's court system and the Supreme Court. Canada is a constitutional monarchy, meaning the monarch, which is currently King Charles III, is our head of state, represented by the Governor General. But our government is run by elected officials. Let's go over how a bill becomes a law. First, a cabinet minister or member of parliament proposes a bill. The bill goes through the first reading. It is introduced, but there's no debate that happens here. During the second reading, MPs debate the bill's main idea and then they vote on it. If approved, the bill goes to the committee stage where it's examined in detail and changes may be suggested. From there, we have the third reading. It's a final debate and a vote, and if passed, it goes through the same steps in the Senate. Finally, it receives royal assent from the Governor General, and then now it becomes law. It's also important to know the difference between a majority government, which controls more than half the seats and can pass laws more easily, and a minority government, which must cooperate with other parties to get things done. So some key terms coming out of this section: Prime Minister, Cabinet, MP or Member of Parliament, Senate, royal assent, riding, constituent, political party, bill. These are the things, the terms that make up section number 1. Next up, section 2, the justice system and the YCJA, the Youth Criminal Justice Act. Canada's justice system aims to be fair and equitable, not just the same for everyone, but responsive to individual circumstances. For youth aged 12 to 18 less a day, so 12 to 17, we have the Youth Criminal Justice Act, the YCJA. It recognizes that young people make mistakes, and its goal is to rehabilitate and support youth, reintegrate them into society, and avoid permanent criminal records when appropriate. Instead of jail, youth may receive warnings or police referrals, community service, counseling, or even restorative justice. Advocacy groups such as the John Howard Society and the Elizabeth Fry Society work with youth, educate the public, and promote changes to our system. In Indigenous communities, elders often guide sentencing through traditional practices and healing circles. The key concepts from Section 2 are the YCJA, so the Youth Criminal Justice Act, rehabilitation, reintegration, advocacy group, elder, criminal record, meaningful consequences. Next up, Section 3, the Charter of Rights and Freedoms. The Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms, part of our Constitution since 1982, protects our rights and freedoms. These include fundamental freedoms, thought, belief, religion, and expression. Our democratic rights to vote and run for office, our mobility rights to move, live, and work anywhere in Canada, our legal rights, fair treatment under the law, and our equality rights, no discrimination based on race, gender, or ability. It's important to note that only Canadian citizens have democratic rights and mobility rights. The Charter limits the power of government. Laws that violate the Charter can be challenged in court and even overturned. This is called a Charter challenge. We also have responsibilities that go with these rights. We have to respect others, obey laws, serve on juries, and we need to stay informed. Some key concepts from this chapter and this section include Charter, Constitution, freedoms, equality, rule of law, responsibility. Next up, Section 4, our collective rights. Collective rights are held by specific groups and are protected by law to recognize their unique histories and contributions to Canada. These include our Francophones, the rights to French language services and schools, Charter Sections 16 to 23, our First Nations, rights based on treaties like Treaties 6, 7, and 8, and our Métis, who are seeking land rights recognition and self-government. Under this section, collective rights, there's the Indian Act of 1876, defining who is a status Indian and regulated many aspects of First Nations life, including reserves and education. It also enforced assimilation, especially through residential schools. Today, reconciliation and rights recognition remain ongoing challenges. Some key concepts here, we have collective rights, treaty, Indian Act, assimilation, status, residential schools, and cultural identity. Section 5 is all about immigration and refugees. Canada's immigration system aims to support population growth, fill job shortages, reunite families, and provide refuge. Some the main immigration categories, we have economic immigrants. These are skilled workers and professionals. We have family class, joining close relatives in Canada. Refugees who are escaping danger or persecution, and other, like caregivers or here in Canada for humanitarian cases. Economic immigrants are evaluated using the point system, which considers education, work experience, age, language, and more. We now have something called express entry as well, which is an enhancement of the point system. Provinces can use the provincial nomination programs to attract people who meet local needs. And Canada also protects refugees under something called the international law. And our charter, especially after something called the Singh decision of 1985, gives refugee claimants legal rights. Some key concepts here are immigration, refugee, point system, family class, humanitarian, charter rights, and the Singh decision. Economics and economic systems is all under Section 6. Economics is a study of how we use limited resources, and every country has to answer how to solve scarcity. So, what is produced, how it's produced, and for whom is it produced? Canada has a mixed economy. Government provides services such as healthcare and education and regulates businesses, while individuals and companies own and operate much of the economy. The United States, on the other hand, leans more toward a market economy with more private ownership and less government control. When there's more government control, the economic continuum shifts to the left, and when there's less government control, that economic system shifts to the right. We can compare policies using this economic continuum. Left for more government involvement, and right for less government involvement. We also need to understand supply and demand. Supply is how much of something is available. Demand is how much people want it. And high demand plus low supply obviously is going to equal higher prices. Yet high supply but low demand is going to equal lower prices. These forces drive prices and influence producers and consumers. Some key concepts here are mixed economy, market economy, private and public ownership, regulation, supply, demand, and the economic continuum. Section 7 is all about consumerism and the quality of life. Consumerism is the idea that buying goods and services is central to our lifestyle and our economy, but it's also linked to identity, environmental impact, and ethics. Your personal choices affect the environment, worker rights, and local businesses all together. And quality of life is measured in standard of living, so your income, your material wealth, and of course, social indicators, your education, healthcare, environment, your freedom. You might be asked to analyze how marketing, media, or trends influence what we buy and how that connects to our values. The key concepts here are consumerism, quality of life, standard of living, advertising, boycott, ethical consumerism as well could be a key concept here. Social programs and taxation is next up. Social programs are services the government provides to promote well-being. This includes universal healthcare, old age pensions, income assistance, employment insurance, public education. All of this is funded through taxes, mostly progressive taxes, meaning people with higher incomes pay a larger share. The tax base is the total group of people and businesses who pay taxes. If people avoid taxes using the underground economy, for example, the system suffers, and it's also illegal. It's called tax evasion. You may be asked to compare Canada's approach with systems that rely more on more on private funding. Some of the key concepts here are taxation, progressive taxes, tax base, social programs, equity, underground economy, maybe even you might see the shadow economy. And then our last section, number 9, is environment and politics. Environmental decisions often involve trade-offs: economic growth versus sustainability, energy production versus emissions reduction. Governments can do all kinds of things like enforce environmental regulations, support green energy initiatives, impose carbon taxes, whereas citizens can advocate through protests, support sustainable products, and pressure companies and governments to act. You might be asked to evaluate policies on perspectives on climate action, biodiversity, or resource development. The key concepts out of here are sustainability, stewardship, activism, carbon tax, biodiversity, and regulation. Okay, that is your review for Social Studies 9. We've explored how government rights, the economy, and environmental choices can affect our lives and how we can take part in shaping Canada's future. The final exam is not just about knowing facts. It's about interpreting these resources that you're going to see, maybe making arguments, and of course, you're going to have to think critically. Good luck, and remember, be informed, be thoughtful, and be engaged. Review the concepts, review your notes, watch some of the past video lessons, and good luck. All the best to you on your exam.